you how to set up an LSAC account. So first thing you want to do is you want to go to lsac.org. You want to go to login as, and once you move over that to JD account, you will obviously do sign up now, but because I already have one, I will just log in. And this is your main screen when you first log into the LSAT. Everything for you will be brand new and fresh, so you can just take the time to browse through it. You have your different kind of tabs here. You have the account profile, the LSAT registration, the credential assembly service, the fee waiver applying to law school, and the future forms that they have. So starting right at the top, registering for the LSAT, you want to make sure that you click on that and you read all of the directions before you register for your LSAT. After that, you're going to have to certify that you agree. And they give you an example of how to upload a photo. If you have a passport photo, you can use it. There's actually like an app on like an iPhone or Android that you can use that's like same passport photo, and you can also use that because these are unacceptable photos and you cannot use these. You want to press continue to registration, select your country, and you have test date options. So as we know, right now we're doing the LSAT Flex, so it's going to be completely virtual. So here are the options. We are in July of 2021 and the August registration deadline has already passed. So you want to make sure that you know your date and you know the deadline to register for the LSAT, because if you are expecting to take it in August and you're like, oh, okay, I can, put the information in July, you have to make sure that you did not pass the deadline. So always make sure that you check back in and know that information and have like a running log of things that you need to do concerning the LSAC and law school preparation. So you're going to choose one, hit continue, and then you can proceed with the registration. So the fee for taking the LSAT, I believe it's $200, but when you apply for a waiver, they have that option right here. You can apply for a waiver. They'll have you, I believe I had to write some type of brief note as to why I'm requesting the waiver, and then you send it over to LSAC. And I would check in maybe after like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, maybe to a month. It really depends on the time in which you're doing all of this, because there are peak times for LSAC when everybody's applying and everybody's submitting all this information. But definitely LSAC is really good about answering the phone. That's one thing that I love, that any questions that I had, they answered the phone and gave me the proper updates that I needed. So you want to make sure that you get your LSAT fee waiver in so that you don't have to pay for the LSAT. And you can take it up to 2 times for free. And then it also helps with your CAS, that's the Credential Assembly Service, and that is going to be basically your whole entire report that gets sent over to law schools. All of your transcripts from each schools, all of your letter of recommendations has to go to LSAC directly, because they are going to combine it into a report and send it over to each and every law school that you apply to. The LSAT writing, after you register for the LSAT, I believe they give a certain time when it becomes available, and it's really just writing. You get a prompt and you write about it. It wasn't that big of a deal. Always remember that if you take your LSAT if you take your LSAT writing after you take the LSAT, then you will not receive your LSAT score until your writing is done. So if you don't want the LSAT score to be delayed, make sure you do the writing. And I believe you're able to do it 2 weeks before your actual test day, or you can do it after, but just make sure you get it done before your results are released, so you aren't delayed in that. So applying to law school, when you're applying to law school, you want to make sure that all of the schools that you have ever gone to, colleges, that you have your transcripts sent directly to LSAC. So you can go to your school's website and follow the prompts for requesting transcripts. And I believe most of them have the option to have it electronically sent right to LSAC. I have chose electronically, and it saved me just the hassle of losing it in the mail and all of those things. So as soon as you register for the LSATs, start doing things like sending your transcripts. If you're currently in like a specific school, you can still send over your transcripts, because the law school will know that you're waiting to graduate and you're waiting for grades to be completed, but you want to make sure that you have all of this done leading up to the LSAT. I say that just because once you finish your LSAT, you want to really just focus on your writing sample. I'm sorry, not your writing sample, your personal statement. You want to really be able to focus on your personal statement. So I got all of the letter of recommendations, all of my transcripts in way before I even took my LSAT so that I can just have it out the way. My mind's not focus on that. I can just completely study, do the writing sample, and after I'm done with the LSAT, I can work on my personal statement because that's going to take up a large portion of your time also. So you'll get all the confirmations in your email once you have your transcripts sent over, and LSAT will also populate your account when they have received your transcripts. And I believe they also send you an email. Your letters of recommendation are going to be also very, very important, simply because you're waiting on someone specific to write this letter of recommendation. So when you're doing your letter of recommendation, you want to make sure that all of the information is present. I'm just here trying to find the letter of recommendation list. So let me just click on a school, because I believe it should allow me. Okay, here it is. So under law school reports, you can go to my LORs, which is letter of recommendation, and they have the complete list of the letter of recommendations that you are using. So I would have, again, on that running log that you have, each and every school, you should know the following. You should know how many letter of recommendation, the maximum number of recommendations that are needed, and the how many pages are needed for your personal statement. Those are also very, very two important things, and we'll go into writing your personal statements in another video. But specifically for letters of recommendation, some schools say the maximum is 3, the maximum is 1. Though it will only allow you to submit 1, you still want to know that, because that's going to be very important. So what you can do for your letter of recommendation when you're adding one, you go to add/edit, go to add new recommender. This information is saying that the letter of recommendations are going to be sent to the law school, and that you understand that statement, essentially, that is going to be used for the purpose of being sent to the law school. You want to enter in their information, confirm that their email address and everything is correct. Once you enter that information, there is this option down here where it says number of letters of recommender. It really just depends. For me, I did 1 because for the most part, my top school, I had a separate recommender write specifically toward that school, and the rest of them I use as general. So here, if you want, you can change this to 1, 2, or 3. Obviously, you really don't want to burden your recommenders. You want to kind of just leave it to 1 to 2, but it's definitely not a necessity. I had 1 and it was good enough. So in this description bar, for example, when I was applying to my top school, I wanted one of my recommenders to specifically focus on that law school. So I put the name of that school, and let's just use Georgetown, for example. So what this will do is when you're assigning the law school recommendation letters to the specific school, you will know that, okay, this law school recommendation letter is specifically for Georgetown. So the description helps, especially if you want certain recommenders to give you a recommendation for a specific school. And if not, you can just put general, so that you know that, okay, I'm going to use this for all the law schools. And if you have where one of your recommenders is writing the recommendation letter for a specific school, you can ask them to reference that particular school. If not, then there's no need for them to list out the schools or write the schools in there if it's going to be a general recommendation letter. And then obviously you press submit. So one thing that I did is I gave all of my recommenders 1 month. And I say that because you have to remember that people have their own lives and they have the things that they're doing. And though the applications didn't even open in that time frame, again, I wanted to submit everything before I even took the LSAT, because once you take the LSAT, you're going to be working on your personal statement after that. And I didn't want to be chasing or hassling anybody for my recommendation letter, so I gave them 1 month to complete the recommendation letter. And the good thing is most of my recommenders got it in within like the next 2 to 3 days. But yeah, you always want to just kind of give them a time frame so that people don't just put it to the side, but they really take that time to invest in the recommendation letter. And also, you want to make sure and confirm that they received an email, because they'll get a direct email from LSAC and they will follow the prompts there. So they recommenders do not send the letter to you and you submit it. They submit it directly to LSAC, and there are steps for doing that. So when you are applying to law school, right, you're going to have your list. And as you see here, I have a school list of 14. And when you are doing that, you're going to bear in mind that there are open dates for the application and closing dates. When an application deadline is due, that is it. It is due then. Everything else after that due date is on a first come first serve basis. So definitely make sure that you have that running log of the schools that you want to apply to and when their application opens and when the deadline is, so that you're kind of keeping track and you're not, submitting anything late, and you don't want any surprises with the process of applying to the law school. And that's basically it. Up in the right hand corner, you have your identification. So if you need to call LSAC, or if you're like applying for a law school scholarship, or you're applying for an LSAT prep, sometimes they'll ask you for your number. So that is going to be right there. And always make sure that, they have the right email for you. You can go to your account information and view your profile. So here they have the LSAT prep course that is free with Khan Academy. Personally, I didn't like it. I just used this, and it wasn't until I was like 3 weeks 3 weeks before my actual exam that I realized that it wasn't a good study tool, because I'd never taken the LSAT. I never knew anything about it. So I don't recommend that people use Khan Academy because it's really not going to give you all that you need in terms of an LSAT prep course. Essentially, most LSAT prep courses are the same. It just, I guess, varies on how you connect with that course and how it's helping you. But essentially all of them are the same. But I do not recommend that you use Khan Academy to do the majority of your studying. And that's basically it when you're completing your application for your LSAC account. Again, this is a free account that you can do, and you're going to want to check this very often and very frequently, because you want to make sure that all of your information is being populated accordingly. And yeah, that's pretty much it when you're creating your account.